Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for waiting. Sorry, we're a little late getting on. This is what happens when children come back into your life from their mums after 2 weeks. It's chaos. So let's just play the trailer that we did and then get started. Hold on. There we go. The evolution of man's behaviours brought us amazing things like civilization and great cities. But with all great behavioural evolution came the downside as well. Lust, gluttony, avarice, sloth, anger, pride, envy. The Deadly Seven, Season 2 of the Human Condition. We will examine the evolution of the 7 deadly sins from their inception in ancient times to their behavioural impact of modern day society. The Deadly Seven, Wednesdays, 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time, on Radio Apocalypse YouTube. Would that be tonight then? Except it's 11:15. Good evening, welcome to Radio Apocalypse, the crazy house of Mo. It's been mental here today, to say the least, and I'm glad the kids are back. I've missed them. Thank you for coming in, Morgan Riley. Thank you for coming in. Truth always wins. And anybody else lurking around, say hi too. I was going to go live on TikTok with this tonight, but you know what? I've got too much to concentrate on, trying to have my notes moving, trying to have other things moving. And why have I all of a sudden got a amber warning on the stream? So we will say, we've not said it for a while. We shall say right at the start, if for any reason we lose the stream tonight, we'll just move over to Instagram Live on the old Instagram for Radio Apocalypse. Not everything seems... That's weird. Processor's fine. Temperature's fine. Where's temperature? There's temperature. Hold on. Let's double check the no, we don't want the new one yet. Temperature's fine. Everything's fine. So, Morgan, tell me please if the stream gets choppy, laggy, anything like that, please, tonight. Because I can't tell. It's not even letting me watch it on my phone. Oh, no, there we go. It's come up now. Oh, there's me. Oh, look, there's me. That's good. Right. So tonight we're starting Season 2 of The Human Condition, which is all about 7 deadly sins. And we're going to particularly look at the one called lust tonight, and it's going to be quite good fun. Lust is an interesting topic, and we're going to examine it from pagan times, or we're going to first of all look at what the 7 deadly sins are, and the definitions of them and things like that. Then we are going to go to look at lust, starting off in pagan times, coming through sort of medieval Christianity and how that got defined there. Look at it a little bit in literature as well, and then a brief look at it in modern society, because modern society is pretty much the same as before. But we'll see how it. We shall see how it all goes. And who's that? Yes, this content. Glad you're here, brother. Glad you are here. Cool. So, let me get the set of slides set up. We need to get all started. You will see me fading in and out of everything tonight. So let us quickly get started, shall we? Yes, indeedy. Right, so the 7 deadly sins, also known as the capital vices or cardinal sins, is a grouping and classification of vices within Christian teachings. Although they are not explicitly listed in the Bible, behaviours or habits are classified under this category if they directly give rise to other immoralities. According to the normal list, these things are pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. Which are contrary to what in Catholicism are known as the 7 heavenly virtues. These sins are often thought to be abuses or excessive versions of one's natural faculties or passions. These particular things were classified originally way back in the early Christian days by a group of monks called the Desert Fathers. These were like early Christian hermits that they lived in that, what was it, the Cetis Desert. I could never pronounce it. I can't decide. Cetes, the Cetis Desert of Egypt, beginning around the 3rd century AD. Excuse me. Okay, get the next slide up. Cool. I've lost my place in my notes. Hold on. Yes, they were Christian hermits, ascetics and monks who lived mainly in the Cetis Desert of Egypt around the 3rd century AD, and were a major influence in actually the early founding of the Christian church. The 7 deadly sins, along with the sins against the Holy Ghost and the sins that cry to heaven for vengeance, I loved that line when I found it, I had to put it in, are considered especially serious within the Western Christian traditions. While the 7 deadly sins as we know them did not originate with the Greeks or the Romans, there were ancient precedents for these particular things way back in the day. 1 second, we will get to the next slide up. Very excited to have slides tonight. Here we go. Aristotle, this chappie here, he wrote a book called the NICOMACHEAN Ethics. It lists several positive, healthy human qualities, excesses or virtues. Aristotle argues that for each positive quality, 2 negative vices exist, and they're found at either extreme of that particular quality. Taking courage, for example, that's human excellence. It's a human excellence or virtue facing in fear and risk. Excessive courage can make one rash, while a deficiency makes one cowardly. So do you see how that works, right? Okay, courage is a good thing to be able to face fear and things like that. But it could, you could lose your life by just rushing into something, or a lack of it at the opposite end makes you afraid of doing the right thing maybe sometimes as well. So it's very interesting. When I started researching this, I was like, that makes so much sense. Wow, Aristotle, he was a clever guy. Look at his face. Hang on. Aristotle. I'm going to grow my beard like that. He looks so wise. He really does. We like Aristotle. Aristotle. Okay. We've got another yellow amber warning thing coming up. Is the stream working okay? It looks okay. It looks like it's holding up. The video is a bit choppy, thank you. Yeah, it was, because it wasn't lined up properly. I needed to line that up. Right, so, where did we get to? The principle of virtue found in the middle of these 2 excesses, and as between excess and deficiency, is Aristotle's notion of the golden mean, the average, the golden average, the good thing, the perfect thing in the middle. Aristotle lists virtues like courage, temperance or self-control, generosity, on greatness of soul, proper response to anger, friendliness, wit and charm. Okay, these are all very positive virtues listed by Aristotle. Most of the capital sins, with the sole exception of sloth, are defined by a very well-known writer called Dante. If you don't know who Dante is, we better get a picture of him coming up too. Hold on a second. Where's my picture of Dante? Oh, no, he comes later on. Is that picture 4? Where's picture 4? No, it's picture 5 we need next. That's very good. Right, good. So defining how the behaviours, these particular things that we call sins, actually are. Okay, we said that they cover these incredible 7 things of pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. Okay, we're going to take one of these each week. Each week we will look at these particular things, and we're going to start today with lust. But it was important to say, hey, look, these particular things have their basis in something more ancient than Christian writings. They go back a bit further, and we will have a look even further back than what we've just discussed, and look into them from a pagan point of view as well. But lust is the first one that we are going to hit out at. Lust is usually thought of as intense or unbridled sexual desire, which may lead to fornication, including adultery, rape, bestiality, and other sinful sexual acts. However, lust could also mean unbridled desire in general, such as a lust for money, power, and other things that may be considered an unhealthy passion. That's more kind of the modern things than the other things. There was a chap, we'll get him up, called Henry Edward Manning, who said the impurity of lust transforms one into a slave of the devil. That's an awful thing, a slave of the devil. And that basically means that, he was a Christian writer, and from his point of view, it was a case of lust is something, not just from a sexual point of view, but from a menial point of view as well, that could lead you down the wrong path for doing the wrong things. Our very famous writer that I just mentioned before, Dante, where is Dante's picture? Dante's picture. There he is, there, bro. Okay, Dante, where is it? The writer Dante described lust as the disordered love for individuals. He wrote a book called the La Divina Commedia, and his criterion for lust was an excessive lust of others, insofar as an excessive love for man would render one's love for God secondary. So lust being for something not particularly positive, in the sense that from a piety and a holy point of view, you might lust after technology in, say, modern times, and in the ancient days it might be like wine. It sounds stupid, but being drunk, in the first canticle of Dante's Inferno, the lustful were punished by being continuously swept around in a whirlwind which symbolized their passions. The damned who are guilty of lust were... Sorry, no, that was a quote from the book that I decided not to put in. Why did I just... Let's delete that now. In Purgatorio, which is a chapter in the same book, the penitents, the people guilty of lust, sometimes chose to walk through flames in order to purge themselves of their lustful inclinations. So back in the days of Dante, purging one's soul of lust was quite an extreme thing. The imagery for lust was very, very extreme. Fire being like the height of technology in the days of Dante and before Dante as well. So to use it to turn round and do something crazy like that was quite wild. In general, though, lust is thought to be the least serious capital sin, as it is abuse of a faculty that humans actually share with animals, and sins of the flesh are less grievous than the sins of spiritualness, But there you go. Right, let's get the next pictorial up. Right, so lust in paganism. Here we go. Few ancient pagan religions actually considered lust to be a vice. The most famous example of a widespread pagan movement was the Bacchanalia. Hold on. What's wrong with my writing? Yes, here we go, yes. Few ancient pagan religions actually considered lust to be a vice. The most famous example of widespread pagan movement practicing lechery or lust as a ritual was the Bacchanalia festivals of the ancient Roman cult called the Bacchantes. I think that is a picture of, is that a picture of the Bacchanites up there? I need to bring up that a bit higher for me. Yes, this is like their ritual was formed, like it was like orgies and wine drinking and craziness, and it was all for the gods. It was kind of like a wild Roman party all the time. I bet some people would love to live in those days, but you know, we don't live in those days anymore. A bit crazy. We do have wild things that happen, but what can I say? Maybe not as wild as the Romans. So the Bacchanalia, these people, the Bacchanites, their whole ritual, the god that they worshipped, was called Dionysus, but the Romans called him Bacchanatus. Alright, so Dionysus and Bacchanatus were the same people, the same person. Sorry. Basically, these. Hold on. Doodle-doo. Yay! Basically, the Bacchanites worship Dionysus. I've got a picture of him as well. Hold on. Where is all my pictures gone? There they are. Okay, here we go. Dionysus. And Dionysus was the Greek god of, well, the god of the grape harvest, winemaking and wine, fertility, orchards, fruit, vegetation, insanity, ritual madness. His list goes on. Wait for this. Ritual, religious ecstasy, festivity, and theatre in Greek religion, and also he was the god of myth in the Greek times. That is a god of friggin' everything that is fun, you know, and that's kind of what the Bacchanites were all about. They used lust as fun. It was a bit crazy, a bit fun, a bit wild, a bit intense, and basically when the cult arrived in Rome, alright, when this cult arrived in Rome, hold on, I need to put me back up, here we go. When the cult arrived in Rome about 200 BC, there was very little known about them, and they were suspicion was cast upon them all the time, and once they became popular and people were having parties with them, because that's what it was all about, these lustful parties, and everybody's like, wow, yeah, we want to be part of that, you know. The Roman Senate kind of felt a bit threatened by this, because they believed that, you know, the Bacchanites were designed to rebel against their own political views. Thus, they wanted to suppress this mystery cult and avoid any kind of rebellion against the Senate. The Bacchanites were purged and put down. However, some of their more intense and kind of like wild tendencies still remained. Some of their extreme things. One of them was this thing called sacred prostitution. Now, sacred prostitution was the act of sexual desire on a religious basis. It's gone from parties with lust to now having a bit of the old lustful thing within the boundaries of the churches within Rome. So the acts of sacred prostitution continued to be an activity practiced, and it was mostly practiced by the Dionysians, the Bacchanites, those that worshipped Dionysus. So it became acceptable within the boundaries of the church at that particular time. This was a multi-god worshipping church, remember. This wasn't like Christianity. It wasn't as pious in that sense. There was gods of fear, gods of war, gods of power, gods of everything. And Dionysus was the god of friggin' partying. I swear to God. Swear to God? How can I swear to God about another god? Is that sacrilegious? I'll have some coffee. God damn it. Okay. But, so sacred prostitution, temple prostitution, or cult prostitution are general terms for a sexual rite consisting of sexual intercourse or another sexual activity performed in the context of religious worship, perhaps as a form of fertility rite, or a divine marriage where you sell your daughter to the church and they bestow blessings upon you, and that poor little girl becomes something we don't even want to know. It was pagan times. It was kind of wild. But bear in mind that not all pagan religions went forward for this sort of sex magic religion stuff. Okay, some scholars preferred the term sacred sex rather than sacred prostitution, but there is evidence to actually show that people did come in and pay the priestesses money they paid money to the church, not directly to the priestesses, paid money to the church to have intercourse with them for these fertility rites. It could have even be so they could go back and get their wife pregnant. It's wild. It's a crazy thing to think that, but that's how they thought at the time. Lust was a crazy thing, and it was more acceptable, as we'll see as we go through it. However, this is just the Greco-Rome places. There's a couple of examples of incredibly intense and very strange sort of sacred prostitution that happened elsewhere in the world. Japan, for instance. Sacred prostitution was once practiced by the Miko within the traditional Shinto in Japan. There was once Shinto beliefs that prostitution was sacred, so paying for sex was a sacred thing in, medieval Japan. And there used to be lodgings and temple prostitutes on these sacred, shriny grounds. That were these. If you know about Shinto at all, it's like an incredibly holy way of doing things. It's really, really, really good. And what can I say? It's to have, like, I never even knew this whole concept of sacred prostitutes within Shinto. It's considering the rituals that Japan followed at the time anyway. It's kind of like, wow, I would like to know what the ritual behind sacred prostitution within Shinto was, but I couldn't actually find anything. I was wanting to talk to you about that particularly, but couldn't find anything. The other incredible ancient sort of like use of temple prostitutes in the form of lust was the Incan Empire. Wow! They sometimes dedicated young boys as temple prostitutes. The boys were dressed in girls' clothing, and chiefs and headmen would have ritual sexual intercourse with them during religious ceremonies and on holy days as well. I mean, I found that. I says, what? The Incas did what? Wow. That is kind of wild. Kind of wild. Lust as a practice in ancient time was not considered to be perverse or excessive. Okay? Sexual desire had a healthy and practiced outlets, but also had perversions which could be perceived as a bitter difference into normal times, which is kind of wild. Right, let's have a quick couple of minute break here, catch up with what's going on in the chat. Oh, look at that. Pug Dude, how are you? Thank you for coming. I saw pictures of your dogs, by the way, on your Instagram. Very, very cool. Leah Blake. That's a new... Leah, do I know you? Do you know you're a friend of Morgan's? Thank you for joining us. And there's Cognac in the house. I hope you're well, brother. I'm sending you massive digital hugs. And if Carmen, if you're watching from the hospital, I just want to say we're thinking about you greatly. We're sending lots of positivity to you. I hope that everything went well. As soon as you can, drop us a wee message so we know that you're okay. Because that's what we're all about here. Who else have we got that's come in? Yes, this content. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Truth is hiding in the back as well. Good. Listen, thank you everybody for coming in today. It's been really, really good. I wanted to stop in the middle of the stream just now just to... you don't have an Insta, so where did I see pictures of your dogs then? Would it have been... It might have been at... No, it was on your TikTok. It was on your TikTok. You had a wee slideshow. That's where I saw them. Which is good. Right. I wanted to also say to you, while we stop in the middle before we move on to the sort of like early religion and Christianity types of lusty things that went on, I wanted to say I'm doing these crazy things on starting from Sunday. I'm starting to do a crazy through the night, right the way through live stream on TikTok, where it's basically I'm giving up my sleep time. Well, not actually giving up my sleep time. I'm going to be live streaming sleep. Right, but it's a bit crazy to think this, but people find this weird. They have a fascination to watch people sleeping, right? And it's cool. I don't mind it. I will give up my sort of personal space for this, because what I'm wanting to do is raise money for Maggie's charity in Edinburgh for Christmas. So I will actually do a sponsored sleep from I think it will be around about the 15th, we said 12th, 13th, 14th. It'll be the 16th of August to the 15th of December. Every night I will go on, unless my wife says one other night that she wants basically me not to be on if we're going to go and drink wine or something, alright? I will put the camera on and I will sleep, alright? And this is to generate the gifting system as well for TikTok. So any gifts that come in from that we will keep aside, and I'm going to accumulate them all, and even if we raise £20 to go to Maggie's, that's £20 that we didn't have before. Okay, so that is the goal. I've made a wee TikTok about it. I want to bring it up just now, and it's going to be different. I mean, raising money as you sleep for a charity. I can't go out and raise money just now, so I thought, well, I'll do a sponsored sleep. So that's almost like, so that'll be August, September, October, November. That's almost 4 months every night doing this thing. It's going to be quite intense. It's going to be a bit of a marathon to be able to do that. Because it also means sleeping on the sofa for all this time too, because obviously I'm not going to do that in my bedroom with my wife sitting next to me, but you know, I'm getting the back in for it, but that's going to be a bit interesting. Okay, mouthful of coffee, and let's move on to early religion. Okay. Religions tend to draw a distinction between passion and lust. Have I got the right picture up? Hold on. Yes, we do. Amazing. Religions tend to draw a distinction between passion and lust by further categorizing lust as an immoral desire and a passion, and passion as morally accepted. Okay, hold on. Oh my God, I am losing control. Do you know something? Honest to God, I've lost control of all my faculties today, simply because the kids have come back and they've just thrown me right off my keel. Don't be a creep, watch me sleep. Yes, that is exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, Cognac. Right, so religions tend to draw a distinction between passion and lust by further categorizing lust as an immoral desire and passion. Basically, lust defined as immoral because its object or action of affection is improperly ordered according to what is natural law, and the other appetite for the particular object governing the person's intellect will rather than sorry, my words are in the wrong way. Right, so basically they'll be, instead of like being reasonable about stuff, okay, instead of being reasonable about it, they'll be unreasonable about it because they're lusting after it. That's basically what it is. Whereas a passion, regardless of its strength, is maintained to be something God-given and moral. I'm a passion about art, a passion about clothes, a passion about people, a passion's good. It's formed in the will of love. You know, you love something, it's astounding, you want to take it and you want to go, I want to know everything about this. I need to do everything with this, you know. Whereas a lust is like, I must do all that, but own it and do things to it. Grr. Okay? Not good. So this was like in the early times of early religion when this was happening, and it became kind of suppressive. It became what, if we take it from a Catholic point of view, I am a practicing Roman Catholic. Okay, I question my faith every day. I'm not a blind faith person. I think it is healthy to question your faith, and my faith is deeply personal to me. I do not go around blurting out my faith to other people, preaching from the Bible or anything. And you know, I'm a very well-read person, and the fact that I question my faith every day is very proper in my opinion. But I get comfort in certain aspects of the teachings within the Catholic Church, and some people mock the Catholic Church, and quite rightly so. You know, like any big organisation, they are not perfect in any means or forms throughout the whole of history, and the terrible things that the Catholic Church have done, probably still go on within the church and in other places as well. But we're not here to discuss that tonight. I want to bring up the Catholic Church and my connection to them, because lust is considered by Catholicism to be a disordered desire for sexual pleasure. Okay? Whereas sexual pleasure is sought for itself, isolated from its procreative and unitive purposes. Okay? So when it's not for making babies and it's just for fun, it's not good in the Catholic Church. Okay? Sexual desire in itself within the Catholic Church is good, and it's considered to be part God's plan for humanity, and that's truth. At schools, sex education is actually taught as God's loving plan in Catholic Church, because they want to imprint something positive upon it, rather than sort of like it's sacred, it's beautiful, it's something that's very important in a person's life. But it's also for procreation, and within the Catholic Church they say you should, save yourself for the right person. Interesting things though within all the different statements, coming from God on high. There's one particular statement that is drawn out, and that is Matthew 5:27 to 28, and it's quite a famous Bible quote. Thou shalt not commit adultery, but I say... Oh, I need to put the camera on for this so you can see me wave my hands around like a preacher. Thou shalt not commit adultery, but I say to you that whoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in one's heart. This was the depth of the writings about lust that the Catholic Church went to. They put it into sort of like, even if you think about having sex with somebody, that's adultery, that is lust, that is something. And it probably had the most impact, this particular phrase probably had the most impact in Christian definition of lust than any other. In English-speaking countries, the term lust is often associated with sexual desire, probably because of this verse, right? However, just as the English word originated originally a general term for desire, the Greek word lust was also a general term for desire too. So desire in Greek times was kind of different from desire in Catholic times. It was more acceptable in Greek times, like with the Dionysians, it was accepted within their cults and their religious practices, whereas not so much within the Christian churches and things. It's interesting. We're up to picture 20. Wow. Did we not do that one? Hold on. Oh, I didn't put all the other pictures of God up. Oh yes, we will do this. Here we go. So another one of the great phrases, okay, I thought this guy looked a bit like God, as we personify him. You shouldn't be looking at pictures of God, you'll go blind. Anyway, one of the other great phrases that's used in the church is Exodus 20:17, which is, you shall not covet your neighbour's wife. You shall not covet your neighbour's house, or his field, or his male slaves, or his female slave, or his ox, or his draft animal, or his animal of his, or whatever belongs to your neighbour. Just don't go near your friggin' neighbour's stuff. Don't lust after your neighbour's things. Okay? And then when we look at that from a modern point of view, we can laugh at it because, somebody might look at their neighbour's wife or husband and go, it might just happen. But, alright, we can't even consider lusting after somebody's ox, or maybe they're slaves, I don't know. Maybe their car in modern days, we might look at it, we might lust after somebody's car, you know. So while coveting your neighbour's wife may involve a sexual desire, it's unlikely that coveting a neighbour's house or field is a sexual nature. And this particular statement was used for jealousy more than lust, but the connotations of lust about your neighbour's wife was very important to put in there. Didn't have as much of an impact as the other particular ones. Right, so how long have we been on for? Where is my little clickety clock? Amazing. I can't believe that we've actually almost got to, we've got to 7/8 of the way through this, would you believe? And then we're going to sum up what I think about lust at the end of it. So modern lust, have I got a picture for modern lust? Page 20, picture 21. There we go. Right, modern lust, I'll be bringing this up in a minute. It is an offensive picture I'm about to put up, so if you're easily offended, I'm giving you fair warning just now, but it's for an impact to show what modern lust actually is. Okay, and it's a picture of Adolf Hitler. Alright, now, Adolf Hitler had a lust for power. Alright, he had a lust for destruction and things that basically tore the 20th century apart, that we're still kind of feeling the impact of it just now. So there's a chap called McClelland that defines the need for power as a desire for power, either to control other people for one's own goals or to achieve higher goals for the greater good. I don't believe that Hitler's lust for power defined in history was for the greater good, but he might have thought that his lust for power actually was. Right? But it was his ego and his narcissistic tendencies that pushed him, his ethos, his ideals that pushed him further still for it. And to be perfectly honest, his lust for power, his lust to ethnically cleanse virtually an entire religion and different subcultures was a disgrace. It was disgusting. So a modern lust can be conceived as a modern lust for power. However, that lust for power, you can look back in time at even Alexander the Great, who did wonderful things around the Mediterranean by bringing education to thousands of peoples and basically bringing people in. He also did terrible things as well with his wars, but he had a lust for power. Genghis Khan had a lust for power. So a lust for power can be seen right the way through history as a terrible lust. However, lust for power in modern times, okay, another great example of somebody with a lust for power, but it's more an egotist needing to be stroked, is Boris Johnson. Alright, Boris Johnson has lied pretty much all the way through his career to get to where he is. He took no prisoners, he didn't give a flying monkeys about anything, and just carried on doing it. He is an awful man in my book, and his lust for power, okay, but he's not a controlling person. This is the thing, it's bizarre. It was his lust for power was his ego. Maybe it was more of a lust for fame for him, I don't know, but that's actually another thing, a lust for fame. There's people that will sell their soul to the devil, you know, to basically become famous. They will, you know, they think that once they have that, they can do anything with that fame. You know, it's just an awful thing. Another incredible lust is a lust for money, and that is something that fringes on business ethics and business morals. Now, people have said to me in the past that there are no such things as morals in business. That may be so, but there are in this country legally ethics, and ethics is what guide morals. Okay, so your lust for money to perhaps underpay people for doing a good job, you know, that's why we have protections for minimum wages in this country. That's why we do such things like that. So a lust for money is not a particularly good thing, you know. Another Bible quote for your lust for money is Proverbs 23:4. It says, "Do not do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. The principle here is not that it is wrong to have money. It is wrong to desire it in great quantities. And that is how a lot of people live their life. Let's have a quick look at the chit chat here. Sounds like what rad is religion sound is the moral compass. Yes, all 7 deadly sins, especially lust, is considered to be unmoral. So without the ideals of faith and religion, morals would never have been a thing. This is very true. I can't really imagine a world where morals never existed. All those things in history would have been wouldn't have been allowed yet. Decent people follow a moral code, and whereas, lust in the right ways, like if you look at this is my summation, okay? Lust in the right ways is a positive thing. They used it in medieval times for what they believed in to be, not medieval times, sorry, in ancient times, for what they believed to be religion, and it worked for them, and that was fine. It became a little bit more stemmed when we moved into sort of the early Christian church, where we started to have stamps on particular behaviours, and it's really, really important. It's really, really important. And then we move into modern times, where basically ethics and morals become the standard to guide people regardless of religion. Yeah, just as you said there, you don't need to be a religious person to have morals. A moral compass is something that doesn't point to God all the time. For some people it will, and that's cool. For me, my moral compass came to me before I became a Roman Catholic. I knew what was right and wrong. I knew what behaviours were acceptable and what behaviours were not acceptable. And you know something? If I was to be judged on the 7 deadly sins, okay, would I have to serve penitence and walk through one of Dante's circles of hell to purge my lustful desires in the flames? Yes, I would. Of course I would. Okay, I'm a human being. But all these particular things throughout mankind's history have been a tendency to maybe curb the extreme behaviour, and that's what morals are and ethics are as well, is to curb the extreme behaviour, because a lust for money in ancient times could mean that you could purge your slaves. Wait now, these slaves are costing me too much. We'll just drown them, we'll just kill them, we'll just feed them to the lions. There was no meaning to that. We couldn't do that in today's world. That's just the way that it is, I consider myself to be very lucky. I do indeed. I'm an honest man. I feel that lust in modern time is more widely defined, but it still has its roots firmly placed in the past. What did I write there? Right. Lust does have obviously sexual connotations with everything, and sexual behaviours in modern times are completely different from sexual behaviours in pagan times. Pagan times was more acceptable. There's a lot more sexual desires and things which might be a bit more hidden. Okay, and some are acceptable and some are not acceptable. However, the one thing that always follows for me, okay, leads with this, is consent. Okay, lust is fine if it's with consent. Anything that does not have consent, when you are going out of your way to take advantage of somebody, alright, that is basically wrong 110%. Okay, that is how I feel about it, and it's a bit crazy. But I'm lucky because I'm happily married, and my lust is focused permanently on one incredible woman that I married 3 years ago. She is wonderful, and she's my friend, she's my lover, she is my guiding light. She's great, and she's stuck with me, and we had a good chat. We had a great chat on our anniversary. Our anniversary was just yesterday, and we had a great chat yesterday, and she says, we survived the terrible 1.5 year thing. And I went, yeah, God, yeah, me having cancer and now the coronavirus. She goes, no. Within the first years there's an 18-month period where marriages can fall apart. This is a Russian thing. And I was like, really? And she goes, yes, we survived it and I'm very happy. I was like, oh, thank God. I can't afford to divorce you just now, you know. And there we have it. That is lust. Lust, it can be good. Lust can be bad. In my marriage, lust is a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. And there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight. We have been on for 45 minutes. That is a good thing. I am actually creating a piece of content around this. I have actually done a voiceover of everything that we have talked about today already in a proper recorded voiceover, and I just need to make the content behind this as well. So this will automatically upload at the end of the show regardless, but then I will create the bit of content over the next week or so and add those on and make a full individual and then one big long documentary type thing involving content with more of a voiceover and less of me on the camera, which is really good. Let's have a quick look at the chit-chat-charoo. I don't see lust as the problem. It's certain people who hold that lust. I mean, I lust after a load of people, that's cool. But I hold myself together and not let it control me. That's exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Because your lust would be with consent, Morgan. Alright? It's not going to be something that you won't go out of your way to hurt somebody to have your satisfaction for that lust. That's not right. So what you're saying is exactly what I'm saying, but just with different words. You don't let it overwhelm you. You would pursue that lust with consent. You might pursue it initially maybe without consent, to get into that person's life and seduce them, or to have them be part of you because you want them to be in your life, and that's cool. But when it moves into the next phase, it would be consensual, you know. I'm just a decent bloke. Yes, you are. The Minotaur, oil tar pits, Cerberus, harpies, ice chamber. Yep, I'll take morals, please. Few mistakes every now and then, but I would never expect not to make a mistake. Listen, we are all allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to. Mistakes are there to guide us. The greatest teacher in the world, okay, is always error and making mistakes. If you didn't make mistakes, how would you learn? Okay, that's the most important thing. When it comes to making mistakes. However, if that mistake involves taking somebody's life, you know, I mean, I just wonder if Hitler sat back and went, you know, I don't think we should have done that, you know, because he was a nutcase, a friggin' nutcase, okay, and that's the problem with that, okay, but there we have it. Okay, I am not going to do a morning show tomorrow morning because I need to get the kiddos up, I need to get them ready for school, and I've never done an early show where I've had to get them ready for school. And I don't really want that crossing over. So we will not be doing an early show tomorrow morning, but we will be back on Friday with an early show, because I only have one child to get ready for school on Friday, which is good. And this gives me a chance to break myself in easy for it all. What we may do is we may do an original Saturday morning show just for the fun of it. If we don't get to do one tomorrow, I'll have to make sure that everything's okay to do that. So I will be getting up early in the morning to take the kiddos, well, to get, what's it called, the kiddos ready for school, and we'll just see what happens. I'm going to be popping into Discord just now if anybody wants to come in and say hi and chat. If you're not part of Discord and want to be part of Discord, send me a little message on Instagram. The reason that we like that is if I know you say from TikTok, that's cool. We prefer people to be over 18, but we can make exceptions. It depends on the relationship that we have with them. Like my son is 14 and he comes into Discord. That's because he's my son and I know his level of maturity. But we tend to keep it to over 18s only for Discord. It's a bit like a bar, because you know I don't want to step on people's toes about what they can and can't do. And Barry's here, Fallout 4 playthrough tonight, or start Witcher 3. You need to finish Fallout 4 first. You need to finish Fallout 4. I know you're getting bored with it, mate, but you need to finish Fallout 4. But play whichever one you want. I can't wait to watch The Witcher. Okay, but I want to be able to sit down with a bowl of popcorn and watch that and look at the beautiful views and stuff. I couldn't be able to watch it live just now. But yeah, we're going to pop onto Discord. Be great to speak to you, Cognac. See how things are in your head and heart. Hopefully, if anybody's heard from Carmen, let us know as well, because you know, she was busy medically in the past sort of 24 hours, so it would be good to hear what's going on there. And that's us. So no early show. Back tomorrow though with the COVID Chronicles and the crew, hopefully. Hopefully you can make it on, Cognac, tomorrow. Barry can make it on. We'll just do the Mikey thing and come with some interesting news articles, serious ones to begin with, and then finishing up with the less serious ones. And then I've had a couple of suggestions for topics where it's not the Friday night show, and we will talk about those tomorrow. But if anybody has any topics for the chat show on Friday that they want us to talk about, it can be anything at all that's of an appropriate nature. Like, for instance, we're not going to talk about inappropriate things. I was about to list some things off there, but we're not going to talk about inappropriate things because we do have occasion, like my daughter will watch the show. Okay, I'm not going to talk about anything inappropriate with my daughter watching the show. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So last week we had the last 3 Star Wars films, burgers, and where you would isolate yourself. That one of them this week is what's your favorite Italian dish, and I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm changing it slightly to be what's your most famous unusual Italian dish. Okay, and that can lead into like crazy foods as anything at all. But we've got another couple as well that we'll bring up too, which I will let the gang know for Friday. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for watching me ramble. And we'll be back next week again as well with the next part of Season 2. And yeah, be safe, love life, enjoy everything. Thank you for joining us. Come across. Oh, if you want to be on Discord, remember, send me a message through Radio Apocalypse's Instagram or TikTok if you're there. Take care. Be safe.